in order to highlight the important role that fathers play in the education of their children. Let me begin with a brief and interesting story of my own. As a primary school student in class 1, we had only one teacher in our school, and I remember one day that teacher was absent. So, as there was no teacher available in the school, I left the school and came to the workplace of my father. My father asked me, "Why are you not in the school, or why have you come back from the school?" I told him that because the teacher is absent, so that is why I came to your workplace. My father told me that even if the teacher is not there, the school is there, and so you should go to the school. I must mention that my father himself never went to school, but he sent me back to the school immediately. That was the first and last day in my life that I ever tried to not attend a school day. This is just to highlight the important role that a father can play in most fathers often play in the educational journeys of their children. Now, let us have a look at some interesting quotes related to the role of fathers as teachers. So, the first one is, "My father is my teacher, and the world is my classroom." This quote just shows the very big role that a father plays in terms of initiating their children to the bigger world as a bigger practical classroom of life. The second one is, "One father is more than 1,000 schoolmasters," by George Herbert. Now, this again highlights the extremely important role that a father can play in the life of their children as a teacher. The third one is, "What a father says to his children is not heard by the world, but will be heard by posterity." Again, this is a quote that just shows the very deep impact, the very futuristic impact of a father's words or deeds on the future of their children. So these interesting and very inspiring quotes actually highlight the important roles that fathers can play in the life of their children as their first and most important teachers. Now, to come to this very topic, in a more academic sense, the father's role as a teacher and why is it so important? So the first thing is that the first teacher or role model is generally the parents, and most importantly, the father is the first role model for the children. The reason for this is that this is the father who has the primary role of initiation of the children into the world, into the real world, especially the world outside home. So it's the father who introduces the child to the world outside. Then, in a personal role, generally the father plays a very important role in the holistic personality grooming of the child. And so if we take education in its broader sense, that is education that is not just aimed at academics, such as the teaching of certain subjects, but the overall personality development, there comes the important role of the father, where the focus is on the general personality development rather than the very focused or limited role that is generally assigned to the classroom teachers or the subject teachers. Then, role in academics. Again, the father's role in is also very important in terms of the academic achievement of students or children. Research has indicated that parents' involvement in the educational process of their children, especially the father's involvement in, for example, school affairs, in interaction with schools and with teachers, has a very positive impact on the academic achievement of their children. Even fathers who might not have expertise in subjects or who might be illiterate, even their involvement in terms of motivating their children to study will have a positive impact on the general academic achievement of students in comparison to those fathers who do not get involved. Then the other important role that a father plays, that is the role of a teacher, is the subject, career, and educational choices, where the father can guide the children with respect to their interests and the futuristic goals that children have. The other things in which the father can play the role and actually plays the role of a teacher is the role of a bridge between home and school. So generally in most conservative societies, but in societies in general as well, the father is someone who has the primary role of interacting between the home and the school, both in terms of financing the educational process and in terms of interacting with school leaders or with teachers and with other stakeholders in the educational process. The other and perhaps very important role that the father plays is actually the financing of the educational process. So on a lighter note, as someone has said, that a father is a banker provided by the nature. I often tell my students that you are sitting in the classroom and in the university, and you have been sitting, you have got entry to educational institutions mainly because your father has played the role of a banker financing your education. So that is something that is also very important. And so here we need to appreciate the role of the father in terms of financing the educational process of their children. Protection and promotion of the child's interest, academic interests, personal interests, psychological interests, emotional interests, economic interests, futuristic interests. These are important roles that a father plays. And this is something that also is part of the role of a teacher. And that is why we can say that the father plays multiple roles is in the process of the education of children. And so overall we can say that there is a very positive impact on the child's life and well-being if there is involvement of the father in the educational process, in the personal lives, in the professional lives of the children. And so we must not only appreciate the role of a father on the Father's Day as a father or as someone who has brought us into this world or who is a sustainer of our well-being, but also someone who plays the role of a teacher right from the very beginning of our lives, throughout our lives, and that role as a teacher must be appreciated, and that is something that we must give credit to our fathers for